Are you struggling to actually get your offer accepted on your home? This is the tips and tricks to how to actually buy a home. Now, if this is the first video that you're watching in this series, stop here. You've got to go all the way back to number 1. And we're going to run through the whole process of how to actually get to a home. This is the last one where I'm going to cover off a couple of different tips and tricks throughout the whole process to just fill in a couple of gaps that might be in your mind. You have to just be constantly communicating with the agent. That's honestly the number one thing that's going to get you across the line over some other buyers, because agents are people too. And there are a lot of good agents out there as well. Because if you really let the agent know who you are, what you're looking for, how long you've been looking in the market, and you kind of give them that story and you form that relationship, and they might go, oh, hey, actually, I remember, June, and this one would actually be perfect for them. I really want them to buy this one. So I'm going to send it to them before anyone else gets to have a look and see if they want to have the first crack. The next kind of overlapping section to this as well is, in your mind, you really have to figure out what is the walkaway price. If I made an offer for a property at $950,000, and let's just say that I found out that it sold for $955,000. Am I going to regret that I didn't buy the property for $5,000 more? If the answer is yes, that is not your walkaway price. The walkaway price is, I wouldn't have paid a single cent above this mark, and I'm happy to walk away if someone gets the property for a higher price. Now, you don't always have to start there, but oftentimes at auction, or if the agent comes back and says, oh, hey, look, just to be transparent, it's just needs to be a tad bit more, don't be afraid to go that tad bit more, because that could be the difference. That $5,000, that $2,000 could be the difference of buying that fantastic home for you. Always finish on something that's not a round number. 5 people could have an offer on the table at $1 million. Yours could be $1,002,000. So always round it that little bit up, or add an extra $500, an extra $1,000 on there, and you'll stand out just from where everyone else is sitting. So it's a bit of a mental trick to trick the sellers into thinking, oh, these guys are a little bit above where everyone else is. The best way to actually put down a deposit, if you can afford it, is to always put down the full 10%. Technically, you don't have to put down any deposit at all. You could put down $0 up front and then $0 as your balance deposit, regardless of how your finance is set out. Now, for the exact same offer, even if your conditions were a little bit better, the person who has a full 10% deposit will always look more favorable than the person who doesn't. So it's a mental thing again for the sellers. Negotiations is a very tough word. Instead of asking, hey, what are you looking for? Because most agents will go, oh, I can't tell you that, I can't do this. And if you go, hey, is $850,000 going to get me this property? They're just answering your question and saying, look, that'd be a very good offer. Or they might say, no, sorry, mate, it's nowhere close. And at least you have that black and white 100%, because they know where everyone's at. And they can't really, with good faith, say to you, if they know someone's at 840, you need to be at 850. Otherwise, they're going to say that to everyone. But if you say first, hey, I'm thinking of putting down about 850, what do you think? Is that going to get me across the line? They'll kind of tell you, look, put that offer in, I'll present it to the seller, and you'll have a good chance. Conditions can sometimes make or break an offer. You want to have 7 days finance, 7 days building and pest, and a 30-day settlement clause. Sometimes, to be super competitive, you want to be unconditional. If you are subject to sale, if you've got a 21-day finance clause or a 90-day settlement clause, conditions can oftentimes be the make or break to a seller. I've multiple times had people who have had higher offers but worse conditions fall to someone who has either no conditions or very, very fast conditions. Definitely structure your conditions in the right way. Never trust a seller's building and pest report. Oftentimes, sellers will have a very, very, very cheaper version of a building and pest report, and it's not what the property actually seems, especially if it's 5 pages long and it has no photos. You want to make sure you always do your own building and pest report to make sure that 100% that property is all stable, structurally sound, no pest, no termites, and is as expected. Now, sometimes you can come into during that conditional period of the contract where you've got your building and pest report back, and it's actually said there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be fixed up. The fencing is falling down and you need a new this and new that. There's two options that you can take. One is, hey, look, we have to terminate this contract. There's just too much stuff here. We're going to walk away. The second option, which is sometimes what could be the better options to still get that home, but get it for a lesser price, is to negotiate on the building and pest as well. Now, when you negotiate on your building and pest, the seller doesn't always have to say yes. They could say, nah, we'll just settle to the next person. But realistically, the next buyer is going to have the same issue. So what you want to do is you have to look at the scope of exactly what needs to be fixed up, get a quote for exactly how much those things would cost. And the best way would be, look, we'll halve the cost with you. It's going to cost us 10 grand to actually fix up all this stuff. And in good faith, please just maybe let's cover half and half. That's showing reason and fairness to the seller. Most of the time, considering that they probably also know that there might be some other stuff that needs to be fixed up, they'll go, yep, okay, cool, let's do that. Do not change the contract. If you've bought for $1 million and you've got a 10 grand reduction, when you re-sign a contract for $990,000, the banks can throw up alarm bells. And so oftentimes, and most solicitors know this too, you'll just do an adjustment at settlement, which means essentially you pay the sellers 10 grand less. Of course, if it's 100 grand, 50 grand decrease, different story entirely. Now, I could go on and on and on about all of the things that you can look out for, the ways to just give yourself that 5% edge above everyone else when you're actually buying your home. So please do click down below, subscribe for more videos like this, and also just come through. If you're a first home buyer or you're a home buyer in the market and you're just running across some roadblocks, or you need a bit of a refresher on exactly what everything means and how I do everything, just come through at us, give us a buzz. We're friendly, your neighborhood mortgage brokers. So we'll see you in the next video, and hopefully we'll see you in the office.